one of the big hires Lincoln Riley made during the 2024 offseason was defensive coordinator D'Anton Lynn, just his third defensive coordinator since he became a head coach in 2017. And he hired him after firing Alex Grinch, whose philosophy had led to a lot of takeaways and turnovers that on paper look really good, but were not necessarily conducive to winning football in the Pac-12 or even at Oklahoma when you get to the upper reaches of those conferences and in bowl games. Again, they lost to Tulane after giving up 40-plus with the Heisman winner in the Cotton Bowl. They were outscored by Utah a few times during the 2022-2023 seasons. I think what D'Anton Lynn has brought is this idea that size matters. Yeah, I'm chuckling at that too because, well, there's a joke in there, but we're not going to do it because I don't cuss on the channel and I don't do that on the channel. And I tell y'all not to do that in the comments, so we're not going to do that. But I think the headline that people are associating with USC so far, especially as they've done a really good job of messaging the narrative on this, is that the team has gained over 1,450 pounds, right? Everybody has put on a tremendous amount of good weight. They have great before and after photos of what their strength and conditioning program has done for guys like Zachariah Branch, who is a speedy man and one of the better all-purpose players in the sport. As a matter of fact, I think it's him, Travis Hunter, and Emeka Ibuka in as far as who's probably going to win the Paul Hornick Award. As an example of a guy who is going to benefit from being bigger, faster, stronger, bigger and stronger being the two operative words because Zach is already pretty damn fast. D'Anton Lynn also had one of the better defenses in the entire country last year and had the best turnaround of any defense in the country last year at UCLA. He had outstanding defensive line play. He had outstanding linebacker play. And the first thing he said when he got to USC is, they're too small. These men are too small to play in the Big Ten. As a matter of fact, the quote that he gave was, that's my philosophy everywhere I have been. You want them big and strong up front. You want to build the wall. Being in the Pac-12 last year was the most spread I've seen as far as offenses. Going to the Big Ten will be more of what you see in the NFL. It's a more physical style of play. You'll get bigger personnel groups. Michigan comes to mind here, right? Michigan had gone all in with their strength and conditioning and making their offensive line enormous and their defensive line enormous while not needing to sacrifice any of their speed. I think one of the other ways to think about this is what Alex Grinch's defense was built to do versus what D'Anton Lynn's defense is built to do. So when Alex Grinch's defense is working, you get guys that absolutely can play quality football and even quality football in the NFL. One example is linebacker Kenneth Murray, who moved to will linebacker, weak side linebacker, in Alex Grinch's defense and became an absolute monster. He went from a guy that probably needed to think too much, that was asked to do too much in pass coverage at his size, 6'2", 240, and can run, to a guy that was able to point and shoot, right? He saw something and he was able to run it down. Speed no matter what, at all positions. That is what Alex Grinch wanted. Another example of this would be an All-American that he helped build it at Washington State named Hercules Mataafa. Hercules Mataafa is that archetype. He is like a 6'2", 6'4", rangy guy who was about 250 pounds at the defensive tackle position, which is super small in our sport, right? In our sport, we want our defensive tackles to be closer to 300 pounds because you need that push because they're going to push on you unless you're a guy like Hercules Mataafa who's got great twitch, can get off, and can split the guard and center, right, or the guard and tackle and make that tackle for loss. In this style of defense, it's all about that guy being fast. And if he's not carrying a bunch of weight, he has a better chance to be fast. But if he already isn't twitchy up front, it's going to be really difficult for him to split those guys because they're going to get their hands on him before he can get their hands on them. And he's not quick enough with the karate hands, and there goes the play, right? You're getting blown up off the ball. You're getting washed out of the play. What D'Anton Lynn has decided to do is to not even court that. He's looking at not just Michigan. He's looking at Iowa. He's looking at Wisconsin. He's looking at Illinois. He's looking at Ohio State. He's looking at these programs that have prioritized running the football with NFL concepts because they are bigger than you. They want to impose their will on you. I also think that there's something to be said about Lincoln Riley getting this benefit throughout the program, because it's not just the defensive side of the ball, it's also going to be the offensive side of the ball. And one of the things that had been really off, I think, about SC the last couple of years is their offensive line had not been as good as some of the offensive lines that he had at Oklahoma when Bill Bedenbaugh was his offensive line coach. And that's the first thing that Bill Bedenbaugh did when he got to Oklahoma, is he said, the offensive line is too small. It's too damn small. I can't run the football and I can't pass protect with an offensive line that ain't 6'5", 310 across the board that can move. I personally think that if you can do that, you should do that. And what's clear about this USC group, or at least the program, is they are getting everything they need to try to compete year one right away in the Big Ten. And I think before we even get to the Big Ten, we're going to find out just how much more, or how important it is that USC got bigger up front on both sides when they play LSU in Vegas, because that is not just LSU is an SEC program. It is an upper echelon SEC program. It is a program that expects to compete for its conference championship, and it has never been a program that was small in the behind or small in the thighs. And if you can impose your will on those programs, like LSU, you're probably going to have a good run in your first year in the Big Ten. I think that's a good gauge of just how good USC can be, because I think LSU would be a top 4, top 5 team in the 18-team league that is the Big Ten. You also just want to make people run the ball, and you want to make them slow about doing it, right? You want them to really have to think about how they're going to attack your defense, and they didn't really have to do that against SC last year. SC gave up 34.4 points per game and 4.8 yards per rush, right? Like, you were asking them to throw the ball because you knew you couldn't stop the run. If you could stop the run, then you can get man-to-man on the outside and load the box. Yeah, dude, I would love to see that you get man coverage and perhaps a cover 2 shell, and you can go to work with that. But it's real difficult to make people throw the ball if they think they can run against a loaded box, right? If I think that my 5 can beat your 6 or your 7, that's bad news for you, right? You want to have me thinking about even matchups every time I get to the box. You want to have me thinking about the attitude of that linebacker in front of me, or that defensive lineman in front of me, so that when I look at the safeties and I work down, I'm a little bit terrified about perhaps handing this ball off if I have the option, or if I got an RPO on. That's what D'Anton Lynn is doing by just making these guys bigger. If they're able to establish in the first couple of series, it's going to be difficult for you to run the football on us with 5 in the box, 5 defensive players in the box. Then I think we got a chance here to be good. If they can still run the ball on you and you drop 6, okay, maybe we're in a dogfight. But if you got to drop 7 in there to stop the run, you're just going to leave your cornerbacks out there by themselves, and we're going to isolate the slow corner, or the slow safety, or the slow nickel, or the slow linebacker, and we're just going to go to work on you up and down the field. Lincoln Riley's the best at that. He is really, really good about identifying the weak link on your defense and going to hit it. And D'Anton Lynn is doing his damnedest to try to make sure there ain't one that is noticeable within the first couple of series. And by the time you get to the second half, the strength and the size of his defense is what you are worried about, and that's how they're grinding you down. Really love this particular attitude that SC is going in, which is, we're going to be bigger than you. And I think 1,450 pounds of added muscle to an already muscled up and really talented group is going to be fun to watch in 2024.